Hi Phil, lovely to meet you. Another Irish startup. Oh my God, it must be booming back in Ireland. I haven't been there for quite a few years now, almost 4 years. So tell me a bit about your story, about how you got involved in voxpro or started voxpro, and what's happening with the startup.
So we're kind of on the back of this huge influx of American companies that are getting involved in Ireland and getting involved in the Irish economy. So there's been the last 10 years or so, there's been a lot of startups in the news who are coming to Ireland, Dropbox and Airbnb and Zynga and whatnot. So what we do is we work with US companies that need a presence in Ireland. And so what we do is we say, instead of opening up an office in Berlin or Paris or London, come to Cork. We're based in Cork.
Oh.
We employ over 400 highly skilled, really smart, talented, motivated, and also multilingual people who can take your calls, who can answer your emails, who can work on your behalf from our contact center in Cork.
So it's basically like a virtual office for anyone that wants a presence there.
Exactly. So it's a virtual office, but it's more, we take care of customers like Google. So Google will use our services to help their customers in Europe. So there's been a big trend if you're a startup that's kind of moving very, very quickly and rapidly in the US, and all of a sudden you're getting calls in Dutch and in German and in French and Italian. You don't know what to do. You think, should we open up an office in Paris or Berlin? You know, we think there's a smarter way of doing that. You can have all the benefits of being in Europe, European time zones, but have a very, very kind of simple, transparent, and cost-effective platform in Ireland. So we have a startup package, which is €5,000 a month for 5 languages. So it's 5 for 5, we call it, and it's a month-to-month process. It's almost like Amazon Web Services, but for your contact center needs.
Sounds like a great startup that's helping the economy in the sense of giving people jobs in Ireland, I would imagine.
Yeah. You know, we love to think that we're bringing new jobs into Ireland, and we're like reaching out actively to companies here in the West Coast who are thinking about moving to Europe. And you know, every time a new company comes in, we're employing 3 or 4 more people. So it's great.
Because Ireland is so multicultural now. I know it was a bit of a shock for the the original people, and I saw things like change so rapidly in the years that I was there. So tell me, what gave you the idea to do a startup like this?
Well, I'm one of the people who kind of came along later on. So the founder, he'll be here later on today. But I think they started with the idea that they were helping some US companies. There were a lot of US companies in Cork, and they saw the need of this in the marketplace and came along. So Dan Colley, he's the CEO. He's been doing this for about 10 years. So it's almost a startup, but not quite.
So that means you didn't go for venture like most of the startups, and you said you were bootstrapped. Can you tell me what those early years were like?
So they were kind of tough going. We built the company, using customers' revenues, which we think is a healthy way to do things. Didn't really believe in taking VC finance, and 10 years ago there wasn't really that much VC finance in Cork and in Ireland at the time. So I think it's a much better way to be than giving equity away to investors.
And I was just saying to the other guy too that Cork is like a perfect place because of the hard times that people had there, that they're very practical and down to earth, and as you said, it is a much more stable way of building a company.
Yeah, I think there's, you can get a ton of VC money and then, decide to open a ton of different offices, which are extremely expensive. This is a really lean, smart way to kind of build your European presence without the huge costs involved. And Cork is a great location. You got great fun there, great bars.
Lovely people,
multilingual staff. Like I think like 80% of our staff have bachelor's degrees at least. So it's not a kind of a low tier customer service. It's high.
And that freeway is so fabulous. I'm like, that must have changed the face of Cork when that freeway was put in, right?
Yeah, it's been fantastic. It's a really, really fast way of getting around the place.
Because I remember times, my daughter and I often have giggles about on some of the country roads being stuck behind a tractor. A farmer who's going like 2 miles an hour and you're like screaming at the top of your head. But you wouldn't have that problem anymore in Cork, right?
Not anymore, unless like sheep or horses get onto the motorway,
Look, lovely to speak to you today.
Too.
Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot.